Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello and welcome to this episode of our show. This is your host, Keith Doherty. Today our special guest is top real estate broker Elizabeth Ballis of Ballis Group based out of Chicago, Illinois. Elizabeth received her real estate license in 1980 and has also received her ABR, CRS, and GRI certifications. She qualified in the CB International President's Premier Club, wherein only 1% of the more than 126,000 Coldwell Banker Real Estate Corporation sales associates worldwide would qualify, and received the first Chicago Association of Realtors Sales Recognition Award in 2012, which recognized not only her production, but also her commitment to their association and charitable efforts. She opened her own small brokerage in 1981, moved in 1986, and then merged her company into a larger one in 1992. That company changed several times until 1998 when Coldwell Banker acquired it. Giving back is important to her. She is a founding trustee of the Coldwell Banker Charitable Foundation for the Chicago, Milwaukee, Indiana, and Wisconsin offices affiliated with their company, wherein they have raised over $1.1 million since 2011 and have 29 partners. Throughout her career, she has been involved in many committees for multiple listing service, professional standards, forums, director nominating committee, and others, and her awards achievements include the following. One of the top 1,042,000 NRT sales associates nationwide, being a President's Club member since joining Coldwell Banker in 1998 and in the top 20 of their company, Agent's Choice Award nominee for Charitable Service 2013, as well as Lux Home 25 awardee, which represents the 25 top luxury residential real estate brokers in Chicago who have sold the most homes valued at $1.5 million or more between 2010 and 2015 and have the most active listings over 1.5 million as of June 2015. Well, after all that extensive introduction, Elizabeth, we want to welcome you to the show.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
I guess if we could start for our listeners, what led you into real estate? Was it something that you always knew that you wanted to do, or did you maybe stumble into it?
I totally stumbled into it. I had children in nursery school. This was in 1980. They were in grade school by that point, but I had a friend from when they were in nursery school. And she was a realtor in the neighborhood, and she was looking for a property for a friend, and I knew someone down the street who was selling their home, and I recommended them, and they got the deal together, and she bought me a Cuisinart, first-generation Cuisinart. That tells you how long ago that was, about 37 or 8 years ago. And I thought, well, it's really nice, but I probably could earn a living doing this. The interest rates, however, were 18%, so there wasn't a whole lot of real estate going on at that time.
Well, I would still think you could probably earn a little bit higher of a commission than Cuisinart, but that's, I guess, a good start.
It was a start. And,
what personal attributes or traits or qualities do you think have most contributed to your success, and then how do you think you developed these?
Probably being a child of the 50s, living in a community of haves and being a have-not because my parents were divorced. So in the 50s, having divorced parents was unusual. And being financially strapped with 4 children. I started working when I was 11, so I suppose over all of those years of that, I developed a really strong work ethic because I needed to help out at home, and I needed to be sure that I had goals that I wanted to achieve, which was to find my way out.
Excellent. And do you think you could maybe give an example of when your trades have played a role in your path towards success?
I think that I've found also, well, when I went to college, I put the dot on the college catalog so I could find a way out, and I went to a college in Wisconsin, and I think that what happened there was such a serendipitous thing for me. I met a family, and they spent some time with me, and they basically adopted me and took over my financial obligations, and I think that I asked them later, recently, 50-some years later, why they did that, and there was just something about me, seeing me and knowing that I really wanted to make something of myself and to be successful, and I thought that helped me along the way because it helped me get through college, and I think it gives me that the ability to want to always pay it forward. And I've always wanted to pay it forward since then. So that's 50 years ago. And I think that's helped my career a lot because I think one of my major attributes is I try to be kind. It doesn't cost anything to be kind. So I think that that's a very strong part of my personality, to make people happy. And because of my own history and my own childhood, what could make people more happy than helping them buy the dream home?
Absolutely. And you've kind of alluded to a little bit of this next question, but, what are some, the major adversities? Obviously, you like you said, you started working at 11, but maybe you could talk a little bit about some of the major adversities and trials that you had to overcome when it came to real estate in order to achieve your goals and have the levels of success that you've had.
Well, I think, again, when you go back to starting your career in 1980, when the interest rates are 18%, we didn't have anything. We didn't even have fax machines then. So if you go back that far, you had to work really hard. And mostly, I think the adversity was, I started my own company just a year out after I got my license, and I was just a little guy on the block. And trying to make your way into all the big company relationships, you had to build the relationships by getting involved. And so you could overcome you're just a little guy and you can't do the job, to letting people understand that you actually can do the job as well as they can. And that's forging relationships by being involved I was at any rate involved in the Chicago Association of Realtors from a very, very early stage of my career, and working on many, many committees and getting to know the other realtors, because the buyers and sellers come and go, but your colleagues are there day in and day out, and the better your relationships with them, the more success you'll have as you move forward in your career, trying to build it from a beginning into something that hopefully after these 36 years I consider to be a very successful career.
Excellent. And I guess, what kept you going despite, these obstacles? Obviously, you said you started at a time that, you were up against, a lot of other major, offices and things like that. Why didn't you give up? What kept you moving forward?
I think that because I was finding success, and every year my goal was always just to do better than the year before. So when I was able to see that I was gaining steam, I guess, it just gave me, it's like an adrenaline rush. Every time you have a success, you just want more of a success. And so I think that I just kept going because I could see that it was financially rewarding, and it was rewarding for my life and my personality. It was a very, very good fit to be doing this. I'm kind of the 24/7 Energizer bunny, not really very good at balancing life and family and work very well, but it's been a very, very rewarding career for me.
Excellent. And I guess kind of looking forward, as you continue to grow, what is your vision for your business and your career, say, over the next 5 years?
Well, I'm turning 70 this year, so if my husband has anything to do with it, he's talking about my mini retirement, because he doesn't see I'll ever retire. But I've been really very blessed because I have a daughter who has been my partner for 8 years, and I have another young woman who's part of our team. And I think that over the next 5 years for me, trying to balance a little bit more of my life and work, but still be able to work and be the rainmaker, but slow down just a little bit and take time to take a day off here and there, or a week, without feeling I have to be on my calendar every day, seeing what's going on, because I know I have very, very wonderful support. So I have colleagues that are still working in their 90s. That's not my goal, but I would probably see myself in the next 5 years as beginning to slow down.
Excellent. And I guess obviously you said you had your daughter and people in place to continue moving. What do you think the best way that maybe yourself as well as them best market themselves as real estate professionals so they can continually grow?
I think for me it's building relationships. That's my number one recommendation. You start building a relationship. It doesn't matter if it's on a very small level. Some of my clients from 25 years ago, I've worked with 8 or 9 family members. I have the luxury of having a guy I worked with 20 years ago for a $300,000 condo who became a very, very big successful developer in Chicago, building $3 and $4 million houses. So sometimes we think, oh, this is just too small to deal with, but truly every transaction begets another one, and you never know where that will take you. And I think the other very, very important thing for me is giving back. I think that we are blessed to be in a profession that is very rewarding, and I think that there are many people that can use help. In Coldwell Banker, I am one of the trustees of the Coldwell Banker Charitable Foundation, an original trustee member, and we have now 29 charities that we give back to, and a portion of all of our commissions goes to this charitable foundation, an automatic donation. And I think that giving back and getting involved, that's a very, very important thing to me.
Excellent. And I think sometimes I think there's a lot of times misconceptions or there's myths about working with agents. Can you maybe talk a little bit about what you think the biggest misconception or myth that people have about working with a real estate agent is?
I laugh because, as you know, things have changed over the last 35 years, and now with the advent of the internet and all of the opportunities for everybody to get their education online, they neglect the emotional part of this. And I think what realtors bring to the table is trying to keep emotions at bay. You have to have somebody that can work between you and either the buyer or the seller, and do the intermediary to help them just assess what has to happen in order for things to move forward. And just getting to a contract is only getting to first base, but getting to home plate, there are so many moving parts and so many things that go on in the day-to-day of the little pieces of this puzzle that people just don't understand. They think that by not using a realtor, they're going to save a lot of money, but in the end, I think that they would find that that's not the case, that they actually might be spending more money because what they think they're saving because they don't know really how to navigate all the different parts of a real estate transaction. So I think that having somebody in the middle who's knowledgeable and can bring to the table their expertise to guide and handhold and do all of those things, and someone that is not going to just say, okay, now the contract is signed and I'm out of here, but is somebody that's on the day-to-day, day and night, just being sure that everything is wrapped up so that when you get to the closing table, there are no issues and you can move into your new home or move out of your home to your next home and have known that it's been a happy relationship.
Excellent. I guess the next one is kind of like a hypothetical situation. Let's say you get a call. Well, it might not be so hypothetical. You've probably actually dealt with this in your time. But if you get a call from a family member or friend, let's say they're in another state, and they want to sell their home, what advice would you give them about selecting an agent that could best serve their needs? Kind of like you make sure you take care of your clients. How would you advise them for picking an optimal agent?
Well, often what I do in that case when they're asking for my advice is I actually go online and I look at some of the agents in the communities that they're looking at, and I call the agent and I vet them. But if I wasn't going to be doing that, I would just share with them to go online and find people that have the most experience and the most education. I truly believe in getting the designations because I think it shows that you've taken the time to get that extra bit of education. I have the APR, the CRS, the GRI, and all of those, and I think that they're very valuable. And many of the referrals that I share with my friends and family are from the CRS directory of people that I know who have taken the time to do that and know the communities that my clients are going to be looking at. I think that trying to be everything to everyone is not possible. As an example, Chicago is a very, very large metropolitan community. I do not try to sell in the suburbs, even though people say, can't you just take me there? I can't be everything to everyone, so I tell them I have very, very strong relationships over these many years with many fine colleagues in all of the different parts of the city for sure, and certainly I find them and help them find them nationally or even internationally if somebody needs somebody. You want to have somebody that has your best interest at heart, that is not just there for the paycheck, that wants to know that they come first and will give 110% of their time and effort to see that they can find what they're looking for.
Excellent. And if somebody wants to, if they need real estate help and they're in your area, what's the best way they can find out more information about you and how you can help them?
Well, this makes me laugh because we do have a website, and it needs an overhaul because we're busy and I'm very low tech, but it's www.ballisgroup, BALLIS group.com. it's not 100% up to date. We're just in the middle of trying to get it revamped, but I think that'll give everybody a little bit of a snippet of who we are, and we'd be happy to chat with anybody who has questions at any time.
Excellent. Well, Elizabeth, we want to thank you for taking time to come here today and share your real estate experience with our listeners. And if you guys want to learn more about Elizabeth and what she can do, you can visit her site, like she said, theballisgroup.com. And we'll also, below this interview, we'll have a link to her site and any other contact information that she has provided us. With that said, everybody, until our next show, have a great day, and we'll talk to you all soon.
I thank you very much for inviting me to participate.
Thank you. We appreciate you being here.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.